Ayu wano sukhang palang.
Greetings, Ajahn. I have a very sad story to share. Sales have really dropped in my store and customers aren't coming in. I think I'll have to start doing delivery. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, it sounds good. It'll probably help when the customers can't come into the shop. But what about other stores? Are their sales dropping as well?
They've all dropped in sales. That's just how the situation is.
Well, it follows causes and conditions, right? But maybe think about this. If you only want for the sales to be more than they were before, to get more customers, then that's tanha, it's craving, which is the cause for suffering. And if you cling on to things like this, then the heart's always going to be trouble, always be frustrated. So it's better to contemplate, to see that these things are not sure. They change. The sales go up and down following causes and conditions. And suffering over it, it's not going to help you. So try using wisdom to contemplate. What is it that makes the sales increase? Is it establishing a delivery service? Or selling sets of food? Because all things, they follow their own logic.
One more thing though. His parents are watching the news to the point where they're getting really stressed out. What to do about this?
Well, you should ask first whether this news is true or not, and do some research. Don't just believe it because it's on the news, or because someone knowledgeable is trying to convince you about it.
I plan to get the vaccine, but I'm afraid I'll suffer from side effects. But if I don't get the vaccine, I'm afraid I'll get COVID. What should I do?
Well, the vaccine offers one level of protection, in that either you don't get the virus, or you do get it but the symptoms are reduced. But in any case, may you be safe.
Sadhu.
But you know, you're both fortunate, and that you still have good health. But I'll tell you a story about someone less fortunate. It happened about 14 days ago. Hey, the owner of the house you went to an arms round this morning, she's got COVID.
Huh? What should I do?
You should get a COVID check and quarantine for 14 days.
What do I do if the result is positive? Will I spread it to the other? And just yesterday, I hit up Chant Ajahn food. Have I given him the virus? And I can't keep the schedule. Don't worry about it. Chant Ajahn say we should stay in the present moment with the breath. And whatever happens, happens.
Hey, that monk I was telling you about, he's coming right now.
I have good news. I do not have COVID.
Well, this is good news, isn't it? So why do you look so sad?
Well, I do not have COVID. It's true, but
But what?
I'm totally full of other illnesses like diabetes and high blood pressure.
Huh?
These days, the problem for people is that we have ears that are good. The nerves in our ears work well. Then we hear sounds. We have good eyes, and then we see. But if we don't know how to be careful, then when we go look at things, it leads us to trouble and agitation. We just listen to the things that makes the mind unsettled. And the more of this, well, it's all agitation and distress, because there's just so much media these days. Like there's a lot of exciting news, or even a lot of fake news. So who will we believe? this person says this, and that person says that. Just on the one topic of the vaccine. Is taking the vaccine good? Is it dangerous? What brand is good? So all sorts of problems come up. So we need to establish good mindfulness first. With good mindfulness, then we learn and try to understand clearly. We may study from a developed country that has a good outlook and ideas. There are many countries in the world that are recognized for their good economy. The people there are well educated. They will have good thoughts to read about, and they have a leader who gives good information. If we do this, then we may gain more clarity. So this is one form of information. But when we live in our own country, then we should look properly. If we are too afraid, then it can be chaotic or stressful for us. If it's not afraid of dying from medicine, it's afraid of dying from sickness. If not dying from medicine or dying from disease, it's afraid of dying from an accident or dying from different diseases like cancer. There are so many things. But if we have had a long life coming to the present, we aren't dead yet. So it means that we should have merit looking after us. But if there is a matter of karma coming up, then we could die from some disease which may be inescapable. We may be strong and doing well in all areas, but we could still die. Some people get infected with the virus, but because their bodies are in a good health, they can go home. Yet that night, they slip in the bathroom and die. This is up to karma as well. If we accept that, alright, whatever happens is up to my karma. We acknowledge the causes and conditions in our society, and we've seen that the information that we receive is correct according to the majority of people. For example, there are many people who have got the vaccine, and probably only a few people who have had complications. But there are many people dying each day from the virus. So we prepare ourselves. If there is a matter of karma coming up, then we accept it. So if it's not anything with our karma, then there shouldn't be any problem. We will most likely be safe and protected. If we are very worried, then we should do a lot of chanting. Chant a lot first, so we have a refuge. We make the mind calm and peaceful, because if our mind is unwell and is not in a good state, then nothing will go well. As for the current economic situation, we have to accept that it's like this all around the world. Like in times of war, we may have heard of the times in World War I and World War II. Even the monks who put out their upper and lower robes to dry would have them disappear. This can be compared to back in the time of India, where if the monks were to bathe, they would have to look and be aware of where their robes were. Where did they put their robes? They would have to walk backwards down to the river so that they could keep a watch over their robes. At first I used to think, was it really that bad? But I understood when I came to know about the stories of World War II that even the monks' robes would go missing as well. But this era is not like World War II, where our mother's generation was way more serious than this. Later, we will have stories to share for the later generation to hear about. In that era, we passed many various obstacles. We passed through a pandemic already, and how we had to endure and how we had to practice. So at this time, we shouldn't complain too much. Whether the economy is good or bad, do you really see it? If the economy is good, the pigs die, the chickens die, the ducks die, the cows all die. They are all food for humans. The more well they sell, the more animals die. And even all the animals aren't crying. They aren't complaining. But we also come to eat them and do other harmful things to them. We may have some loss, but at least we still have the breath. So we still have a lot of things, which is just this breath. We are born with this breath. So we are someone who has something valuable. If we have no more breath anymore, then all the things we have now, will they still have meaning or not? So now, what do we possess? We still have the breath. We have time. So we should find the time to chant a lot. Exchange it for merit instead. Is this a good idea? But in regards to the economy, it doesn't mean that we stop doing anything. It's not that we see the world as beautiful and do nothing at all. I will only meditate and practice. If we have a wife and children, we have other things, then we have to be responsible too. We have to think about additional careers we can do. We have to endure. Why can other people do it? Sometimes we see them driving Grab or driving a taxi. They try to do all sorts of work. They may try to sell something. So you can try to have an online business. You can try something online. And it's uncertain. The people nowadays have kindness and concern for each other. They're able to help each other out. So one may be in real need, but it's not that one does something bad, so that they can go to jail so that they can eat. This is such a terrible idea. May we patiently endure. The important thing is to endure patiently. Do not be discouraged. We must have hope and determination. Every person must gain success. If we are discouraged in the beginning, then we won't get anything at all. We must strive. Do not be discouraged at all. Before the Buddha became enlightened, it was not easy at all. The very wealthy people in the world had to struggle a lot. They had to make a lot of mistakes. So may you have good determination.